This is really an executive section and we're open to
Okay.
the public.
Okay. Go ahead.
We're considering this an executive session, even though it's before, but there's nothing that's so confidential that we can't talk about in public. But I know that you were going to be taking your mother to the airport, so I wanted you to be available.
You guys were at the last meeting where we met with a handful of representatives from the Chestnut Street area. To date, we have not received the Bob Evans videotape from that end.
That's good.
The two companies that were contacted by Gutman, I believe it was Gutman who reached out to those two individuals, Miller Excavating and I think Zutma was the other one. They sent us. I sent them an email last week. I followed up with Supervisors, let them know, and also with Rich Rush. They are still waiting on the Bob Evans video. Rich Rush has not received that either. He reached out to them twice. He CC'd me on those. We still have not received that video. So it's my understanding that they've done the walkthrough. They've done as much as they can from on the ground, but they're looking for those videos so they can put everything together and come up with an estimate to take back to not just the township but the parties involved, and to consider whether or not it's going to be a joint effort, if it's going to be headlined, if the township's going to work with them, or if not, then they have to go at it individually and they'll have to go after each other to try and recoup the thing. That's kind of where we're at since the last meeting. Unfortunately, not a lot has happened on the resolution matter other than we're working towards getting a video and getting a number to fix exactly what needs fixed.
Michael, I think just going back, Gutman's willing, they have brought in, of course, we had that already done in video. Rich Rush will be here in 4 o'clock meeting and discuss any more. What it seems to be is there's a blockage, what he's seen on the one video, but he got to see the other from Bob Evans, because we had shot it down from there. The parties seem to be somewhat amiable. I mean, the ones that were here as far as paying and trying to do it. So that's where we're at on Chestnut. We're just trying to facilitate, as Township, just trying to work with them to get them together on this, because it is the property owner's responsibility on that. So that's where it is right now. PennDOT, of course, they've been involved too extensively, but that's where we're at right now. I don't know if there's any questions from Michael, if you would have any.
We're going to have this
we're going to talk
back
about
up in a meeting.
Yeah, Rich Rush will be here.
I just wanted to get your part. But without giving any names, is it true that one of them is now considering a lawsuit?
That's my understanding.
Okay, thank you.
Who is pushing the contractor to come up with the estimate?
Gutman.
Gutman's been the, I would say, the ringleader that has.
Is Gutman represented by counsel at these meetings?
Correct.
Can you get in touch with that attorney tomorrow and just say, do you have the estimate? We need to keep this.
So he's in the same boat as us. The people that we contacted shot an email, CC'd me on it with their attorney Adam Diaz, who's the attorney for Gutman, stating they need the Bob Evans. And at the meeting that we were at in the township, the Bob Evans representative indicated they would send that to Rich, and that was September.
Oh, you mean they needed the
from the other end?
Other
From one end, we needed from the other end to find out exactly the whole
what is involved.
what needs to be done. Correct. Because we believe there's whether it's a collapse or a blockage somewhere around the Gutman/Rite Aid area. It's kind of hard to tell exactly where when you're underground like that. That's my understanding. But there's appears to be potential blockages up closer to the Bob Evans area too, so they want to see that as well.
So Gutman cameraed it from his side. Apparently Bob Evans cameraed it from their side.
Yeah, Bob Evans had a camera from their side.
That was the first.
They knew where the blockage is.
Where the first blockage is coming from Franklin Farms Road. That's where we know there's one blockage around 90-some feet in. But there appears to be other issues from the other side. We want to clarify that. Rich is waiting on the video from Bob Evans as far as that. So we need to get that to the gentleman that were contracted out by Gutman to give that.
We'll wait. Yeah, we'll wait for Rich.
Okay. Anything else?
Be in touch with Gary, work out the same office, because we'll see what we do in the meeting. Thanks. Hope everything's all right.
Okay, let's call this meeting to order. Could we stand first? I'd like to have a moment of silence in because it's a 9/11 day, and then we'll pledge allegiance and have Pastor Hooker say a prayer. Thank you. Pledge allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor Hooker.
Let's pray. God of all people, as we gather here, we do so all for the same purpose, to make this a wonderful place to live, to solve whatever issues and problems are before us at this time. And so as we gather with opinions and agendas and desires and passions on our hearts and our minds. Where these are in line with each other, we thank you for the way the path has already been cleared. Where they are not in line, we pray that you would help us to work together, not for our own individual interests, but for the common good. All this we pray.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Do I have a motion to add any items to the agenda?
Yeah, I'm going to, first off, just simply request. I received today's agenda at 1:10 this afternoon. That's not long enough. We agreed at the January meeting that the agendas would be set, Martha, 24 hours in advance. And we're getting agendas now 3 hours before the township meeting. As a resident of the township, it's unfair, because it might come down and want an agenda. But it's certainly unfair to an elected official of this township. And it just shows a lack of common courtesy. And second of all, I am at wit's end, as the residents are. The township manager must give a report at meetings.
Okay. Is there any public comment on agenda items? Okay.
Is the township manager going to give a report?
No. She's got stuff she's going to talk about. That's it.
Is that her report?
Okay, we have approval of minutes. I have a motion to approve the minutes of the August 14, 2018. I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Vote.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, to have approval of minutes, a motion to approve the minutes of August 14th, 2018. I'll make that motion.
Second.
I said my third one, okay.
Mr. Sept?
Yes.
Mr. Junko?
Yes.
Mr. Puzzle?
Yes. Treasurer's report.
General fund, 54,598. Local share, 105,457. State fund, 130,608. Sewage escrow, 32,014. Payroll account, 30,546. Chartiers Creek, 18,881. General obligation bond, 56,486, and Act 13 impact fee, 171,533.
Do I have a motion to file the treasurer's report for the future audit?
I'll second. I have some questions.
Good.
On the treasurer's report, we need to get down to business on a couple matters, and everybody's in the room, and I don't want that way anybody to say, well, this person said this and this person said that. First off, I inherited an issue of $250,000. Where is it? We built a bridge. We had a big newspaper article. We said we were getting reimbursed. And I'm now in office 9 months and inheriting a situation where this township has paid for a bridge, which at least 3 former supervisors and myself felt as though we should have paid for in the first place. So can somebody please tell me where the money is?
Yeah, the money is in the PennDOT grant.
It's in,
They haven't released.
They haven't released the money from the state. It's been a hang-up. Julie can explain to you a little bit more on that if you have anything else. We need to get our audit.
There's an audit pending, and they're waiting for a report that the auditor does only. Nobody else does the report but the auditor.
But
It seems like when you give them one thing and that's supposed to be it, then they add another thing.
that's just what I was gonna say.
It's never ending.
You got a government, and we're upset. I've contacted Tim O'Neill, Cam Barlotta, we're working with right now. Martha, you had just talked with Jared Seifer. You want to explain what he had told you? Jared Seifer is one of the managers under Tim O'Neill, state representative. I've talked to Tim personally, and so has Phil talked to Cam Barlotta. The state, I don't know what, we fulfilled every obligation we had to fulfill when we got that grant. And we did get the grant. It was okay. We haven't got the money. And that's the whole problem with the state. But we've done everything we could possibly do. So Martha, could you explain a little bit more? Go ahead, Martha.
That's my understanding, is that they will not consider releasing the $250,000 until they receive the audit for 2016. And they said there's just no way around it. And when I asked, well, was that requested at the time that we made the application? And they said it should have been included in there. It should have been part of the request, is what I was told. And I did receive an email from the representative from Tim O'Neill's office, who said he spoke with them, and that was exactly what they told him too. That they cannot, and it's my understanding, that audit will not be done until
September.
yeah,
End of September.
end of September. So that's
So they've started it, they're working on it?
no.
The auditors?
No,
No,
it
not
will be done by the end of September.
Cyphers?
Yes, yes.
They're coming the latter part of
And
September.
so we're talking the 2017 audit, not 2016?
No, we're talking to 2016 for the state. The state auditor's coming after that, correct?
Yes,
This
Right.
is 2018, we're auditing
Right.
2016?
right, and 17.
And
There's a
17.
DCED report that they require that the auditor does, and it wasn't completed.
And when I talked to Richard.
Wait, Cyber did our audit in 2016.
They did not.
Who did it?
We did not get the audit done for 16 or 17. That's what's pending in September.
Well, no, our finances are audited every year. Who did the audit for the township? in
The audit
2016?
wasn't completed because of the flood. So it's on hold. The audit. Everything, it had to get pushed back because we didn't have records because we got flooded. So the audit that's pending is for 16 and 17. And there's a DCED report in there that only the auditor can do, nobody else but him. A financial record.
Well, you can assure that Cypher and Cypher is going to put this on the
Yes.
front burner and not
Yes.
delay it?
Once they're here, that's the first thing that they work on.
All right.
All right, I'll sign anything I need to sign as the current supervisor to get this done, but this isn't my baby. We've got to get this done, and I want the money, because if we had the money,
Oh, all right.
maybe we could offer $25,000 on West Chestnut Street or fix another drain in this township. It's just ridiculous. Okay, the next item I have on your treasurer's report is, we owe, how much for the police pension fund? For 2017.
Approximately 160,000
And when are we paying it?
by the end of September.
And it's my understanding we have a $20,000 interest fine.
Right. Right.
Is the board aware of that? We lost $20,000.
Right.
All right. So the one that gets under my skin here a little bit on this and looking at what the former board did last year was, now you're going to need to explain this one because I don't quite understand it. Okay, I understand that we purchased a portion of the water company property. $50,000 check was written to you personally, to Gary
Sweat.
Gary
Sweat
Sweat,
Law.
not personally, Sweat Law Firm.
Right.
Okay, and then
Wired.
somehow that becomes recreational authority property.
No,
No, this is what I need. I
Yeah.
really don't understand.
Yeah, there are two parcels that were at issue. One was the original property that I guess is on the left side of Route 18 that we condemned originally, years ago. That condemnation happened, I think, under your watch. And that condemnation was never resolved.
Okay.
As part of the negotiations for the balance of the property, we effected a global settlement of all the issues, because that was always hanging out there. At the same time, we were able to obtain a lease of the oil and gas for that portion of the property, even though that was an issue initially, of approximately $50,000. So that was the contribution that the township made to the closing in order to buy everything. And the way the deeds are, the property across the street is in the name of the township, and the balance of the property is in the name of the authority. That's how
Say that
that's how it
again?
came out. The balance of the property is deeded to the authority, and the 18 acres or so on the Trinity Middle School side of Route 18 has been deeded to the township.
Okay, and when the authority dissolves,
Everything that the authority owns, if it would ever be dissolved, has to be transferred back to the governing body, which would be the township.
and I understand that was gonna be 2021.
When the final bond payment is made. That authority is in existence during the life of any debt or any projects that hadn't been completed. Right now, there are no projects, just the debt.
Well, the point I was gonna get to on the treasurer's report, then back, coming full circle, was that, okay, we need to pay the 160, and I don't care how we pay it, we gotta get it paid immediately for 2017, because we're gonna get in trouble. It's the pension fund. You gotta pay it. And second of all, when the one comes due in December, we're taking out a tax anticipation loan, and we gotta pay that one too. So, I'm not falling behind on pension funds.
Well, let me have an understanding. Past practice, that was all put in the general fund, the 70,000. It was always put in the general fund and we used it, correct? That's what we used. That's been done over the years, okay?
Is there a date, like for 17, it has to be paid by? When is it due?
The MMO is due by the 31st of December each year for the
Right.
police pension fund.
Right.
So at the end of this year, we'll owe this year's, which will be, it's always about 150 to 160. And it's split with the state aid that we get. We'll get 80,000 from the state, and then we pay the difference.
See, yes, we get 80,000 from the state.
Right.
And then we pay the difference, except we spent the 80,000.
Did you get the 80,000 contribution for this year?
Yes. Oh, no.
So you didn't get it
September.
yet?
Right,
You'll get that in September to go towards the December payment.
right. And then
Okay.
we write a check for the difference.
So then you know not to spend that.
Right.
Okay, I just want to make sure that gets paid. We cannot go any longer.
I agree, yeah.
All right, vote.
Do I have a motion to file the treasurer's report for future
You
audit?
had a motion?
Yeah,
We didn't vote.
Just a roll
We didn't
call.
vote. Roll call. Yes, I'm sorry.
Mr. Junko?
Yes.
Mr. Pasalakwa?
Yes.
Mr. Sabat?
Yes.
Okay, building permits.
There was one for the month of August for $79.50.
Bill approval and check signing. I have a motion to approve total bills and check signing.
So moved.
Vote second.
Mr. Junko?
Yes.
Mr. Pasalakwa?
Yes.
Mr. Sabat?
Yes.
Okay, we have a visitor here who wants to make a statement here. Mr. Beard, go up, state your name, come up, please.
All right, I'm Steve Beard, live at 1623 Grim Drive. Have residence in the township, have a business in the township, 1464 Park Avenue. My complaint, or I guess that my motion today would be to do something about our 4 p.m. meeting. As you see, everyone's steel-toe boots. That's because I ran in the bathroom, changed my shirt, and ran over here to be here at 4 o'clock. Okay, so I did a little driving around, don't worry, I won't bill you, Did a little driving around the township after work, and here's what I found. Right at 5, leaving, I drove up on top here, I went across Overlook, went down Palm, went down all the different streets, I don't know all the names, but I went up and down all the streets, and I didn't see a whole lot going on. Came down here to Timberline, took a ride around Timberline, didn't see a whole lot going on. Waited till about 6:30. Drove around, as you know, until 2 or 3 days ago, we had a lot of warm, nice days, a lot more activity, a lot more people. Would you guys agree that North Franklin is a middle class, 35 to 75,000 with a 42 to 125 household income? Mr. Sept, would you agree that that's primarily what our township is?
It's a mix, yes.
Would you agree that it's probably more middle class than upper class?
Yes.
Mr. Junko, would you agree that it's probably middle class?
Yeah.
Mr. Paslak? Okay, so the middle class, if you do a Google search, the average normal business hours across the entire United States is 9 to 5 p.m. So if you have your entire township is primarily working middle class and the average work hours are 9 to 5 p.m., why would you have a township meeting at 4 o'clock p.m.? The people in the township are the reason that we're here. The people in the township are the reason you guys are here. Why would you not want us to be heard? I mean, the working class we're the ones that are paying the taxes. We're the ones that are coming. I'm not asking you to have a meeting at 7 or 8 or 9 o'clock at night, but having a 6 p.m. meeting, Mr. Sept, is there any reason why you would be 100% against moving the meeting?
Mr. Beard, let me back up one thing.
Sure.
When I was elected in November, I ran on this issue. This was one of the things I ran on, okay? But in December, before I was sworn in, I met with this board and I requested they change the time.
Huh?
They said no.
Okay.
Now, the part that upset me the most at that time, and I told these guys what it was, you didn't even ask me if I could attend a 4 p.m. meeting because I'm the one on the board that works. And everybody knows I said that. And nobody even asked me. So if they're not going to ask the board of supervisors, member of the board of supervisors who was elected, do you think they're going to ask you?
I'm just asking. I mean, I've got my 4 minutes.
Well, you got my
I'm just
answer.
asking.
I agree with you 100%.
Mr. Junko, Mr. Paslak, was there any reason why we couldn't have a 6 o'clock meeting? Is there any reason we have to have a 4 p.m. meeting?
Well, just to go back, when it was voted on, we've had meetings at 6, we had meetings earlier, later. We haven't had that much of attendance. We got good attendance. I don't know what, it's been decided, that's it, that's all I can tell you at this point.
6 o'clock meeting, we're going to run to 7 o'clock.
7, 8 o'clock.
We never get out of here early.
Okay, I mean, that's a concern for me, because I have to literally leave my business to get here. So if I want to care about the township, if I want to be part of the township, I have to just drop everything and walk away. And that makes it very difficult, and I think that something should be done about it. The other thing I want to talk to you guys about, I spoke to you back in August.
To finish that up, I'm more than willing to make a motion right now, but it's going nowhere. So
Make it.
You have my
Make the motion, say
Make
the
the
motion.
Make
Don't
it.
move.
No.
Move it to 6 p.m.
It's been decided in the beginning of the year, I'm sorry.
All right. When would that be up for renegotiation?
January?
January, okay. The other thing I want to talk to you guys about while I'm up here is the flooding issues that had happened on 18. I asked about it back in August. It had been about a year since that had happened, since the major one had happened. It had been about 4 or 5 months since the minor one had happened. In light of this weekend, yet again, it happened. Made a couple of notes and things. I was actually told that it was a civil matter. My question is if the pipe that's going under or through this person's yard was never permitted, never allowed, would that not be a township issue, not a civil issue? And my next question to follow up on that is, one of my major flooding issues is that whenever it rains and whenever we get heavy rains, it actually comes up out of my sewer lines, which would tell you that the runoff is going into the sewer. Again, a township issue.
I will let Mr. Rush, can you address him please on that? It's on Park Avenue. He's our engineer. He can tell you the law and what transpired with that.
Yeah.
That's on Park Avenue.
Right there by
Gas
Gabby
station.
Martin.
Across from Gabby.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. Which sewer? Sanitary?
Okay, so if it rains heavily, not like we had over the weekend,
Yeah.
I literally have to flush my toilet, drain all the water out, plug it, Because if I don't, whenever it's raining and all the sewer grates are full, it's spewing up out of the
So
toilet.
it's a sanitary, it's backing up through the sanitary.
Right. So how is it the runoff and sanitation? I mean, is that not a township issue? That should be addressed, right?
Washington East Water, the sewer authority. It's probably, what's happening is they probably have millage down, and they probably have a sewer line. Sewer lines run along the streams. 'Cause
Right.
that's usually, it's probably filling up and going in the manholes.
Okay.
But that would all be, that's all Washington East Washington, correct?
So that's-
You guys
that's-
don't-
They own and operate.
Yeah, they don't, I don't think the township even controls the storm.
So that's
all
a
Washington.
phone call to them as to why
Yeah,
that's occurring.
That's all Washington East Washington.
Okay, and as far as the creek, so as far as that pipe that's through the guy's yard in the creek, it's blocking, it keeps getting backed up, I mean,
Yeah,
you know.
that
I
I
thought,
don't know about.
would you not have to have a permit to do something like that, to put a pipe through your yard, would you not require a permit to do that?
Depends when it was done. Probably
Okay.
80% of them out there are probably non-permitted.
Well, I agree with you,
Yeah,
it was probably
Almost
done.
everyone we ever replace is non-permitted, there's nothing on record of any
Okay,
of them.
so how would we go about having that looked at? Because it is causing problems. It's causing Shane to flood, it's causing the bar to flood, it's causing my business to flood. Every time that thing backs up, it comes out on 18, flows down 18, it floods Jamie Beals' house, and it takes every business around on the corner, and right here. It took this out last July. That was the reason. I got pictures to prove it, of where it washed out on 18 and came down. So what do we do about that?
I mean, we could look at the pipe.
That's the
I mean,
property that Sarah told you about, that had the pipe in the yard on Park Avenue. I think Sarah discussed that with
Okay.
you. And it's a civil matter, I mean, as far as them putting it in.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
The property owners.
a lot of it depends on the whole situation of what it is. Is it just a pipe in a stream, they have a small crossing over, is it raised up 5 feet?
I don't know, Rich. That's-
I mean, if it's just like a pipe that they're using just for a crossing or a driveway
It's
crossing.
in the backyard.
Okay, I mean, odds are, when you get a big storm, it really has no difference. Wouldn't matter if there's a pipe there or not a pipe there, it's flooding. Water hits a certain level, doesn't matter whether there's a pipe 5 feet down below, doesn't matter whether there's a road over here, water's gonna find that level. During the smaller events, it could be creating a backup if it's not, doesn't have the capacity to go through, which is not surprising, because probably 95% of the pipes that are in are under capacity. Nothing had capacity for this past storm, last July. You're not gonna get those, but even in normal events, most of them are probably undersized. I do know, I did talk with Sarah, I don't know how far it goes up from where it crosses 18 up behind the automobile shop. I'm not sure how far it goes up. That section of stream actually right now is on the PRP. That is a PRP, along with a section down here of Chartiers is on the PRP for the MS4 program. But none of the MS4, the PRP plan, the MS4 so far hasn't been approved by DEP. That section is, and I think she said it is for basically stream bank stabilization and cleaning it out, more or less, just opening it up, stabilizing the banks. So I think that's a bad section in behind there. That is on the PRP. That is a section. As far as the pipe goes, I mean, we can look at it and see if there's something. Can we see what kind of an issue it's creating? If it is creating an issue, I don't know what the exact procedure is for addressing it, but we can tell if it's creating an issue.
Okay.
On the matter of the sewage pipe, can we make a motion to at least send a letter to Washington, East Washington Authority and ask them to please check on it for us and report back to the Board of Supervisors on Mr. Beard's concern?
Absolutely.
I'll make that
We
motion.
don't even need a motion.
They don't need a motion.
I mean, if you just.
Please, could
Do
you
want-
please send?
Who do you want to send the letter? Engineer?
Well,
Come from
no,
you guys.
they're Julianne.
Yeah, that would come from you guys.
Okay.
Yeah,
The
send
Board
it
of
to Region.
Supervisors could sign that letter, have us all sign it. I just want to report back from them as what they're saying is wrong.
And this is at 1623 Grim Drive, right?
No, that's that's my house address. This is at 1464 Park Avenue. That's my business address.
Do you get it often? Does it happen often?
During heavy rains. So I've been over there, actually, part of it since I was 15. I'm 32 now. I have never seen it happen until last summer, which tells me that something changed. happened in July, happened in February, happened again over the weekend.
There's been a lot that they never had. So
My thing is, the pipe that goes up Arnold Street's probably 4 feet diameter. Their pipe is 24 inches diameter. So to say that the pipe not being there or being there wouldn't make a difference, I believe that it very much would, because if it's only 24 inches diameter, the next pipe down the stream is 4 feet. The pipe over here behind Gabby,
Well, that's what I'm saying, it's the size of pipe, but it's basically what's around the pipe. Like, a lot of these guys will put a pipe in a stream, and
Yeah.
all they do is put a little crossing over it, so they really don't take much area.
no, they filled it all in.
That's
so
what I said, I can't.
It backfills all through the property
Yeah, and that's
before
what
that.
I'd have to see what's around the pipe to see how much backup it would create. That's what I mean, I'd have to see how much backup it creates over what's over the
Stop
pipe.
at the bank and walk, you take a look.
That's where they cross from the bank?
Right across from the bank.
Credit you? or-
Yes, right across from the Wabelka First Bank.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, we go down to old business. We gotta open up bids for the police cars when we're
So moved.
moved. Second. Go ahead,
Mr. Jenkins?
Yes.
Mr. Passalacqua?
Yes.
Mr. Savitt?
Yes.
Do you want to open them?
Go ahead, Julian.
Good.
That's your thing. We're at 20,000 each.
So you guys can write this. You can write this down,
Go ahead.
please. Can you write this down? Okay. This is a 2007 Ford Crown Victoria.
Good.
We have a total of 2 bids for each car.
Okay.
Two bids, this is a Crown Vic.
I think so. Oh my God, I wish I had known
This bid is for $257.
Okay.
And there is a 10% money order included,
How much is there?
$35.
All right. Who's that from?
Tommy Brisbane, or Brisbane.
Okay. Opening another one on Crown Vic.
This bid is for $1,500
Okay.
from a Don Greer,
Okay.
and there is a 10% cashier's check included.
Let's go on here.
Yeah, let's draw the other one.
Go ahead with the Dodge
Maybe our
Charger.
move will be better.
2011 Dodge Charger.
Go ahead.
$1,100 from a Sean Scott, and there is a 10% cashier's check.
1,100.
1,100.
Another one for the 2011 Dodge. This is also from Tommy Brisbane. This is $1,857. And there is a 10% money order. It's Mr. Brisbane, 1857.
Not on that.
Okay, I'll make a motion to reject the bids on the Dodge.
No way.
I'll make a motion to reject the bids on the Dodge.
Dodge Charger. Okay, I second that. Vote on that, I guess.
Mr. Savitt?
Yes.
Mr. Passalacqua?
Yes.
Mr. Junko?
Yes.
All no?
Right.
And I'll make a motion to have you advertise that Dodge in the municipal, what's it called?
Municipal.
Yeah,
Municipal,
please.
yeah.
I'll make that form of motion, have it for the next meeting.
Okay, vote on it?
Mr. Passalacqua?
Yes.
Mr. Savitt?
Yes.
Mr. Junko?
Yes.
Being in a car business, I could tell you, a car with an odometer that doesn't work and it's badly rusted, I would make a motion to accept the bid for $1,500. Right.
Be 3 out of 35.
Yeah, I was hoping more, but I didn't know the odometer wasn't working too, because the roof being totally rusted. How does a roof rust on a car?
Flood zone.
Take a vote on it.
Yes,
Mr. Passalacqua? Mr. John Hill?
Yes,
Mr. Sept?
Yes.
go ahead.
All right, got rid of one. That Dodge is worth like $9,000. I don't.
Well, they just,
I don't get what they're doing, so we'll try again on that one.
yeah, we're going to listen to it. Okay. I guess we'll go, are there any more, Chestnut Street flooding, we had discussed it earlier in dealing with it. I don't know if there's any other, Rich, we have not received from Bob Evans as of today, right?
No, the guy, I was out last week on vacation, but I had 2 emails basically saying, did I get it? And I haven't received it. The guy got a hold of me today, said he's been trying to send it. I don't know if he's trying to send it the wrong email, but he finally said, no, I'm doing the right email, it just won't go through. So he sent me a hard copy. He said I should have it in 2 days. He sent it up today.
Is there a way they can, we know that the blockage is 94 feet, but we don't know whether the pipe is up here or down here, right? We don't know whether it's on Rite Aid property or on Gutman's property. Is there anything we can shoot up in there and then detect from above with the?
I don't know. You'd have to ask Rob.
Find out just where that.
Yeah, we'd have.
If we find out where it is, I think we start to dig it out and open it up and get the water flowing and then go ahead and argue it out whose fault it is.
Well, you may be, I mean, you could do, I don't know how deep the locator will go. Have to ask Robinson Pipe. The first thing we gotta do is get the Bob Evans, because we get to see how far they made it in. There may be in, they only went 94, there's a couple hundred plus feet of pipe through there.
Okay, yeah.
If they go in 50 feet and it's caved in again, then it's multiple problems. You know, it could be on different owners, but even if they can't, you can get a general alignment of the pipe, measure your 90-some feet, you're gonna be close. Or you'll have a decent idea whose property it's on, or you can at least dig down and find the pipe.
Are you suggesting, and I'm not saying I'm supposed to, I'm just asking, are you suggesting that we go ahead and do it to
Well,
get to it?
if nobody's gonna do anything, we can start it and we know there's a blockage at 94 feet, at least. If we can dig that out and open it up and let the water start going and save Chestnut Street, then duke it out and see who's gonna pay for the darn.
That's what
Do we have, does anybody want to guess how much that would cost us to do?
That's the trouble.
It depends on how
It's up to
much.
somebody.
Like at 90-some feet going up in there, it looked like there was some old corrugated metal pipes that collapsed. You can tell they're bowed, kicked in. Looks like there was a collapse. That collapse could be a 10-foot section, or it could go back 100 feet. That's the problem. You don't know how far back it's collapsed. And I think if you get 94 feet, I think you're outside of the zone of that retaining wall behind the marathon.
Yeah.
You start going back another 50 feet, now you're underneath that retaining wall. So you start opening things up, you got a retaining wall there, you got a steep.
Big money.
That's what you're gonna get. The money's not the pipe replacement, the money's keeping the slope. I mean, you're gonna be 15 feet deep and you got a Rite Aid slope like this and you got a
But
5
Gary,
foot high retaining wall.
Are they gonna allow us to go do that?
I'm sure they would allow us.
I'm sure they would. If they're gonna pay for it, they're gonna allow it.
But
If there's some way we can find out
But
whose
do you
property
want
it
to
is.
start that precedent?
I-
This is a classic commercial enterprise liability. We're not talking, residences that are arguing over a pipe. These are major commercial enterprises.
And their businesses are being affected right now, big
Yeah.
time.
And Rite Aid is prepared to file a lawsuit.
And you and I talked sidebar before the meeting. We can give them, say, 10 days or 14 days to come up with a plan. And if they don't have a plan, we can begin to cite them at an
Public
amount
nuisance.
as a public nuisance up to $500 a day.
Yeah.
What if they find out it's on their property?
It is on their property.
Okay, Rich?
If they file a lawsuit.
If they file a lawsuit and find out that it's on their own property, oops.
I mean, the 94 feet from everything I've seen looks like that's probably not the problem.
It sounds to me, from what's been explained, that everybody
Gutman, Rite Aid, Bob Evans, everyone was waiting to see what that video Bob Evans showed.
See it for something.
And then,
I have a feeling what it's gonna show is a lot of crap. Because if that thing's blocked and that thing.
but that's what the contractor was waiting for to do his
And
estimate.
the problem is, what you're gonna run into is he's gonna have an estimate, but it's gonna have a lot of caveats to it, because I sure, you know at 94 feet coming in from Franklin Farms is collapsed. That needs replaced. Problem is, you could have 100 feet of junk in the pipe, could be collapsed somewhere else you don't know, because you can't get through it. Because, I mean, odds are, stuff's been going down that pipe for a while, and it finally just got clogged up enough. As soon as it starts that clog, then everything backs up behind it. There could be 100 feet of debris behind it.
Once
You won't
there
know that
is,
you're in there.
once it's determined where the blockage or the failed pipe is, you'll know what property it's on.
Yeah, except what I'm saying is, there could be another one above that you don't even know is there, that you won't know until you dig it up. Because it could be blocked, could have debris.
Yeah, but once you open that up, couldn't you take more pictures?
Yeah, you can
deeper
put the
in?
camera
Yeah,
down in
but you
there.
gotta open it up first.
Yeah, well,
That's the problem.
we know it's gonna be opened up at 93 feet, for sure, right?
They'll probably open up from the upper end first.
Okay, but still,
Yeah.
you can take pictures deeper into the pipe system.
Yeah, but they'll have to probably dig it up to open it up.
Yeah.
So
Well, they gotta do whatever they gotta do.
Yeah, they're gonna have to work from above. They're not gonna be working down from below, so they'll know, because they'll be digging it up.
Let me say this. It's been going on since February of 17, right? The date you got first complaint, February 17. So I'm in favor of both things. I'm in favor of what Silvio said to do and spend a little bit of township money, despite what you're saying. We could use a state account for that, so we do have the money in that account. And I'm also in favor of saying, these guys got to come up with a plan, or we're going to start finding them within 14 days. So we can do both things. And that way, we're being proactive, we're trying to fix it, so the township doesn't look silly, even though we're not responsible, and at the same time, we're going to hold them responsible.
Well, if we go into 94-foot pipe, so we know there's blockage, we get that out of there. They can put a camera in from there and shoot it this way and not see if anything else.
Well, it depends, it's collapsed. It's not just block, it's collapsed, the pipe's collapsed.
Well, it's the
There's probably
90,
a shopping cart in there somewhere.
okay,
The pipe, there's an actual CMP pipe that's collapsed, it's caved in.
all right, the 93-foot section where we know it's collapsed, is that on Gutman's property?
I'd venture to say, off the top of my head, it's probably right.
It's Rite Aid's property.
Yeah, because I think if you,
Looks that way, but.
if you follow the retaining wall behind his place, then it comes out. Basically, his parking lot is pretty much that lot. Rite
don't we have
Aid
to
Rite Aid
start
owns
that?
this way, then they own the strip out to Chestnut Street. And I think if you measure from Franklin Farms up, I think it's greater than 93 feet.
Well, you were at the meetings, right? I mean, Rite Aid and their attorney, they're adamant
Well, they weren't at the last meeting.
that they didn't do
I
anything
weren't
wrong,
at
and they
the
supposed.
PennDOT meeting, I was at the one that was here 2 weeks
Okay.
ago.
They didn't show up.
Because I've seen letters where they reference studies that they've done, they have engineering reports, and they're happy to share them with us, but they're adamant that they didn't do anything wrong.
Well, I think what their study said was they didn't connect to the pipe. They connected their detention system to a system that runs in Franklin Farms that runs into the inlet that they went in at, the 94-foot in, okay? I think what they're saying is we didn't connect to that. Some of the arguments I've been hearing is, well, we didn't connect to that pipe, so it's not our fault.
That's exactly what Rite Aid
I don't know
said.
that hardly any of
You
them.
were there.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't matter. I mean, if it caves in, it caves in. That, like I said during that meeting last Thursday, that line basically benefits everybody because it's a stream, that's a streaming line. That was a streaming line.
Well,
If it wasn't there, there's probably 5 businesses that wouldn't exist because you can't put them in. You couldn't
Okay.
put McDonald's, Days Inn, Rite Aid, Marathon, Bob Evans. None of those would be in because you'd have a stream running down there.
let me say this. In regards to what Sylvia started, and you said, my position on this is, yes, it's private property, and more so, it's commercial property, okay? But at the same time, this has gone on 1.5 years, and if we have to build them a small amount, if it's not too much, I'm almost willing to say that's what we should do, because we gotta protect our business interests in the township. And one of them is Bob Evans, who seems to be the innocent victim here. Seems to be.
The only problem you're gonna get into is if you start digging it up.
I know what you're gonna say.
It's not, the pipe replacement's the easy part. It's all the OSHA requirements, trenching, shoring, everything else. I mean, you might end up being, on that upper side with Rite Aid, I mean, you could have an excavation 20 feet deep. I mean, you could shore that thing back. If you shore it back, you'll be into the parking lot.
You got that money to spend, that's in the police department.
All right, if we don't do that, then we have to give them 14 days to start citing them.
See, the problem with the township doing anything where it has no liability, at least that's my legal position, we would need a private easement to get onto the property. So that's number one. Number two, we would have to have an acknowledgement of the property owners that by taking this action, we by no means are assuming any responsibility for the problem. We're coming in as the savior of everybody trying to identify the issue. And then, as Rich said, once you open it up, are you creating a bigger mess for yourself that you can't get out of, and what's the cost of that going to be? It sounds to me that once you open up that hole, you could have an open-ended blank check. And then once we start something, we can't stop it.
Yeah, once you open it, it's open. I mean, and then now you gotta start protecting your side slopes. You're gonna have trench boxes in there. You may have stacked boxes. You can't just pull them back out.
Then there could be slides and buildings
And
could
basically,
start
this is
slipping.
one of these projects where, once you open it, you wanna open it, get in and get the hell out as quick as you can. You don't wanna leave this thing open for 3 months, because you could get another storm like we just had. I mean, this is a project you wanna open, get it done, get it closed back up again as fast as possible. The way you're talking about doing this isn't exactly, you're talking about basically dabbling in a little bit, see what the problem is.
Can't do that.
But if you're gonna go into it, you go into it to finish it. That's, you open it up, you find out what the problem is, you follow it, you finish it, get it closed back up again. That's what you end up doing in a case like this.
Well, I've thrown some ideas out. I don't know what else to say. This is embarrassing because what's happening is we're the ones taking the heat, even though it's not our responsibility.
I mean, we definitely know there's we can look at that video, I'm pretty sure they went, they didn't go from the end, they went from the manhole, right? Or the inlet?
From Bob Evans?
No, when they went in, Gutman's
Yeah,
video went in.
they right down
They
there.
didn't go in from the Churchill's Creek entrance, they
No,
went in from the
they went in
inlet.
from Franklin Farms Road.
Yeah, I mean, basically, if you look at the tax, I mean, John Mounts did a boundary survey for Gutman. You know it's 94 feet, okay, say it's 100. Wherever Robinson, it's not hard to figure out if you go back. You know you got a collapse here. If you know you're 30 feet from a property line, it's pretty safe to say at least this part is on this person. Then you at least got someone to start with. Doesn't mean it may not involve somebody else. I mean, it could go right back through. I mean, it could be 100 feet of collapse in it. You don't know. But if we have the Robinson video where they have links, everything else, if they have that, it's probably pretty easy to at least tell where it starts and whose property it's on. You don't have to really locate it, because you could pull a radius, and anywhere you hit that 100 foot, you might be on the same property.
So you're hoping to have that in a couple of days?
Oh, no, we have that one. That's the Bob Evans, that's the Gutman video. That's the lower bit, that's the one we already have, that says it's 94 feet up, they're hitting basically a blockage.
Did you give any indication about that blockage, 82, it was, I think he bid it, it was like a rough bid, around 80-some thousand, I think it got 100,000, just to go in there. That's what they were waiting for, a final bid. These contractors want to see what you had.
They want to see what's on the
Upper end.
I just have a strange feeling they're going to find a lot of debris.
That's what kind of money we're going to get into. You're going to be more than that.
It's not a cheap one.
No. It's not
They've
cheap.
seen the video. They said the blockage is 90 feet up.
Well, then,
They've seen it.
do you have a
It's on Rite
recommendation?
Aid property.
We're going to keep the pressure on everybody.
Let's get the Bob Evans.
Give somebody a deadline to come up with a report on what they're going to do, or we're going to start citing them for public nuisance.
How about,
I think Rich,
let me look and see too, what we'll do is we'll look on the tax maps, we'll try to get some, I'll get Mark's our surveyor, I'll get him to pull subdivision plan, pull a few deeds, let's see if we can plot up some, for our own purposes. It would be not a boundary survey, it would just give us an idea of who owns what where.
Right.
So we have some dimensions off of Franklin Farms Road from this area up. Yeah, you know what, if it's within 120 feet, it's on this person. At least gives you
We
something.
would need that to go to the site.
At least it gives you something within some reasonable knowledge to start with.
And,
That's a plan.
and we are, for people who don't think we're putting any money in, we're paying our township engineer to work on this. We're continuing to, of course, pay the police, and our fire company is volunteering a lot of time. So the township continues to, I would feel more comfortable if we actually put a deadline as to when we were gonna start citing, but if you wanna wait another meeting, I
I
don't
think
know.
what they're waiting for is Rich, and I have video. If he can come up and say, because I know Gutman, their attorney had talked about, once we got that, then he would have them contractors do the bids. You know,
Seems a little bit loaded.
you know, Gutman definitely would go into it. I think Bob Evans would put into it, the way they
Great.
understand it. And
They're the responsible.
Rite Aid
folks that are-
contends that they don't own anything there, and it's drain, they built their own drains when they built that building, and they have their own outlets.
I think it boils down
Well,
to, it's a legal thing.
That's a legal matter.
Who's responsible?
But
Whether you
I
connect
know,
or not, if it's on your
even
property.
beyond that, we need to check with McDonald's, they weren't at the meeting, but Taco Bell was, and he'd be willing, whatever needs on his property to assess whatever cost, that's just the creek, you know, to keep it clean and so on, they would all contribute, the way I understood it when we left that
Well, this
meeting.
has to be hurting their businesses when this
It's
happens.
killing,
Exactly. And
it's
I'm
killing
all-
the Canton side too.
It's hurt.
You know, it's
Jason,
killing-
Bob Evans, Marathon.
And I don't know if Canton's getting any of that or not, I don't know. But I think we need to go ahead and find out first from Rich, and then we'll go from there. And get their attorney.
Somebody get that video from Bob Evans.
He's sending a hard copy.
Yeah, I got, they mailed a hard copy today.
And Michael will probably contact that attorney for Gutman. So that's where it stood as we left that meeting. Okay, so that's where we're at.
So we're kind of still stuck.
Stuck, yeah. I mean.
In the mud.
I don't wanna go in there and spend $80-some thousand
Right, I
dollars
agree.
and another $100,000 and not get paid back.
Well,
Okay?
if we have to wait for a long time to get it, you know.
It's, I don't, you know,
Can't be any longer than we're waiting for the 250.
well, that's your Pennsylvania State governor book, okay? Yeah. That's where it's at. Okay, Act 172, Martha, you had done some research on this, and I know we're deciding this is for the fire company.
Ironically.
Yes, I did contact some the townships in the area. Canton Township does have an ordinance for their firemen. They give a percentage of the real estate tax as an incentive to have members join the fire department. They also give a resolution where they give a $12, they pay $12 for the people responding to these, the fire calls. So if you're a member of the fire department and how many fire calls you respond to, you get $12. But they also get a percentage of the real estate tax. Some areas, I looked at some of the legislation on it, and some areas can also credit their income tax, earned income tax. Some areas in the state do that. So once I have everything from all the different places, I thought then present it to the board and they can make a decision if indeed they want to do this and what they want to give and if anything. So that's where it is right now.
Well, I think we can go ahead and,
Can I ask a
Go
question?
ahead.
Martha, did you ask if that $12 per call is taxable? That's considered income? So.
I didn't. I know in the resolution from Canton.
I believe it is.
is it? I don't know.
Yeah, so they're gonna end up getting $5, and that's, that might put someone in a higher tax bracket that they don't wanna be in. So you have to pay tax on that, because I did my investigation.
From what I've read on it, it seems like most municipalities, if they do indeed have this, it's towards a percentage or the entire, depending on the amount of the real estate tax.
Real estate tax, yeah.
So that's kind of what they were leaning.
That's basically what you're asking for, right, Dave? I mean, real estate, is that what?
You can go either way.
Real estate or earned income.
Only thing with real estate, if you have a member that doesn't own property in the township, they
Then he
don't.
can't. Do you have many that's like that?
Few,
You have two?
we have a
No,
few.
A few, okay.
Yeah,
One of the conditions is on the real estate refund, you must be under the Homestead Act whereby you do occupy your home.
right.
So that's one of the conditions. It'll be a decision that the board can make.
I think what we could do, maybe go over this and discuss this, and then maybe next meeting come to a final agreement on it in regards to.
And perhaps start it at the beginning of 2019.
Right. Okay.
And on the earned income, they're only gonna be able to benefit on the percentage that we would pay to the township, not what goes to the
Right.
school district.
Right.
0.5%.
0.5%.
It's a 0.5%.
So,
Hopefully we'll get
Francis, could you
together on
help
this
us
and
out?
make a decision. Okay?
sorry.
I don't know if you have any questions. Okay, going down to joint municipal zoning ordinance, which we had a meeting prior to this meeting, with the amendments, motion to adopt the joint municipal zoning ordinance with the amendments that were changed. So, do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Second. Vote.
I didn't second it. You second
You
it?
second? I'll second it, okay.
Okay, I'm gonna comment on it. You'd be surprised I wouldn't have on that one. Okay, in regards to this ordinance, there was a lot of work and there was a lot of time put into this. And I really thought long and hard on this one. I know some people in this room may not think I did, but I did. And this all comes down to the commercial vehicle issue. And here is the problem I had. First off, I want to say, I think the solicitor and Michael Crooney did a heck of a job. They did everything the township asked them to do. And what people got to understand is when they get mad at the solicitor and they get mad at the code enforcement officer and they get mad at this person, they're being directed by the Board of Supervisors in one way or another, or being led by the township manager. And that's what happened in this case as well. I think they did a good job. And I got things in there that I wanted in there. But in the end, there's two problems. One is what no one, the elephant in the room is the lawsuit that was filed against the township. That's what started all this. Okay, so what did I hear? I started thinking about this over Labor Day weekend, actually. It was like, okay, because I did have a blowout meeting with the Board of Supervisors, and I went back and I thought some more about this. I heard about potato chip trucks, and I heard about pickup trucks, and I heard about 1-ton trucks and 3/4-ton trucks and trucks with little labels on them, and I heard about school buses, and you know what I didn't hear about was a lawsuit, because that's where it all started. And so that gave me pause. But the second thing in the end that did this in for me, and I'm going to vote no, is what happened at last meeting. And when Ben Scott came to the meeting, and he expressed to the Board of Supervisors that he was an LLC, and any business person in this room knows what an LLC is. And what happened was, it got all screwed up. And I had to ask myself why. And if it would have happened to everyone in this township, and my answer came back in my own mind, no, we wouldn't have treated everybody the same way, because we don't treat everyone the same way. Our code enforcement officer is directed, and it's not his fault, to treat some people different than others. It's just a fact. And I know the board disagrees with me, Gary may disagree with me, half the people in this room may disagree with me. But what I found when I campaigned out there was people were upset that they felt as though they were not getting a fair shake in this township. And that's why I won. And I'm gonna vote no because for whatever reason, Mr. Scott was reported to OSHA